I am the Chief Information Officer at Tata Teleservices Limited, which includes a host of lines of businesses. We are into several segments of the telecommunication business. Our primary focus as business lines is on the mobility business and on the enterprise business. No, pressure is definitely the right word to use. There are definite, look at it this way. Look at, first, if I look at the nature of the telco business. As we speak right now, there are lots of things happening behind us. There are activations happening, there are recharges happening, there are bills being generated, there are payments being made, people are calling the CRM. All these are IT systems which are running. One of them goes down right now, I will get a phone call and this interview will be terminated there and then. So there is a pressure. Anything goes wrong, minute by minute translates into crores of rupees of revenue lost to us. So definitely there's a pressure to keep everything working, to have a robust architecture, to have very efficient operational setup, to be able to respond to, first of all, to be able to prevent problems from occurring, and if they do occur, to be able to turn around fast. Maybe we never focus, by the way, on problem resolution. First focus is on service restoration. Restore the service, minimize loss, and then resolve the problem. So yes, that is a pressure. If you look at the other side, we have internal systems like SAP, like our ERP. Every employee of the company uses IT systems, laptops, so somebody going in for a sales presentation suddenly finds his laptop is not working. There's a potential risk to us. So there are small pressures or trivial sounding things to large business impacting problems, but it's fun. I mean, one gets used to it, one has a strong organization and ecosystem to handle that sort of pressure. But yes, to answer your question in short, definitely there are pressures. If we look at my role today, I spend 50% of my time with business, and balance 50% of the time is divided between my own team, my partner, the other vendors that come in, my management. But 50% of my time is spent in business, understanding and evaluating their priorities and assessing our readiness to respond to those priorities. That's our business. See, we as Tata Teleservices have come into the market as a challenger. And yes, but we have come in as a challenger, but we do have aspirations of becoming a leader. And I know better than probably many people that the only way to do it is to be able to differentiate ourselves. By offering run-of-the-mill services, I cannot convince you, for example, to move from your current service provider to Tata Teleservices. You will ask me why. Right. So I need to be able to differentiate. And that differentiation rides very strongly on IT. How do I bring in that differentiation if I'm not working close with the business? I need to understand the business priorities, the business problems, the business challenges and processes, and be able to improve them, be a thought leader to the business in terms of helping them adopt new processes and technologies which would help them take the lead. Right. So, yeah, see, innovation is a way of life. I mean, and as I just said, we have to be able to continuously and consciously differentiating ourselves and taking the lead in the market. See, innovation, I would put it in two types of things. One is innovation that we have done in terms of redefining some of the IT processes itself, like for example change management process, the governance process, how do I make IT closer to the business. I would say that has been the biggest change that I have been trying to bring about. We believed earlier that IT should be aligned to the business. Right? I no longer believe in that. Alignment is not sufficient. It is necessary but not sufficient. I want IT to be integrated with the business. So there's a difference between being aligned with somebody and being integrated with somebody. If you look at, for example, your laptop or any desktop, you have a microprocessor chip. You don't say that that chip is aligned with the computer. It's integrated with the computer. It is one. Right? Similarly, IT is part of the business. So I am trying to bring in a lot of innovation in terms of bringing in that integration, tighter integration, closer integration between business and IT. That's one of the challenges in terms of providing thought leadership to the business, in terms of bringing in the global best practices in many areas. See, I mean, relationships automatically work well if your priorities and goals are aligned. If you're all working towards similar, but when there's a conflict in the priorities, then there is a challenge. So I think, and I am in a sense very lucky that I have a boss who is also has responsibility for a major part of our business, which is the enterprise business. So he sets the priorities for the business, and I, as I already talked about, I see my role primarily as integrating IT with the business. So we are able to work very well together. Yes, I won't say that, I mean, like between any boss and employee relationship, that everything is always good, but I think more or less at a larger level, we are very well aligned, we have worked very closely and well together, we have shared objectives and goals. And the good part is that in Tata, I have seen, especially from my boss, I have a lot of empowerment. It's not that I have been entrusted with responsibility without authority. I have responsibility, but I also have authority. Authority to buy, authority to take decisions, authority to on whom to partner with, what to provide, what not to provide. I have a lot of freedom, and that makes it very good. Yes, if you look at Facebook, for example, Tata Docomo has a very strong presence, and we use it as a very effective medium to communicate with the youth segment. And I see a lot of important messages and news items through clips that are posted on Facebook by Tata Docomo, but that's, I would say, one smaller aspect of social media. The larger part is the blogs, etc., that we have, the look and feel that we are able to provide. So we are not yet fully into exploiting social media completely for the for our office use, but we are gradually entering into it with a little bit of trepidation also. And as other allied technologies like BYOD and other things come in, we think that there's a good amount of future in terms of social media entering the office premises. I would say not really conservative, but yes, we are a little bit cautious in terms of opening up our IT systems too much. We have to keep a very sharp eye on security at all times, the security of data, particularly our customers' data. So, but yes, I for one can say that I am definitely a strong proponent of social media in the workplace. It's a bit of both, to be frank. If you ask me that do you support BYOD, do you think it is a good vehicle for connecting the employees' social and professional lives? Certainly yes. I feel definitely, I am myself a user of BYOD. I use an iPad, I use a BlackBerry and personal smartphones. So yes, as a process, as a how should I say, breakthrough in terms of the office culture, definitely it is here to stay, and I think it has a great future. We will probably, but at the moment, if you ask me, are we fully ready for it? My answer is no, we are not. And I'm not only talking about Tata Teleservices. I have had opportunity to speak on this particular topic in other forums also. For example, today, in BYOD, if you look at it, I'm talking about some of the challenges. I think personal view is, yes, it is a great thing to have and it should be there. But now, if you look at it from a pragmatic point of view, there is no authentication layer available for BYOD. If you walk in tomorrow with your own device, trying to connect to, let's say, the Exchange server, which has all the office mails, there is no way I will know that an employee has come in using his own iPad and he is connected with that. There is no way I can know, and therefore I cannot monitor, and therefore I cannot protect you from any security threats. So those are challenges. The other major challenge which a lot of people ignore when talking about BYOD is the network management challenge. You have a help desk, right? Every company has its own help desk for IT. Right. I have a problem with my laptop, I call up the IT help desk, somebody comes and fixes it. What do I do in case of BYOD? We get so many calls. I have this particular enterprise application and I have this version of a Samsung Galaxy. How do you integrate the two together? The help desk guy is clueless. Right. Right. So one is on the security aspect, the other is on the network management and help desk aspect of it. So certain things have to mature a little bit more, I think, till we can say safely that yes, the time of BYOD has come. I know some work is going on. I know I've heard some people out, and I'm sure some advances have been made, and we need to adopt those things. But at the moment, in theory and in heart, I support it. But I think in practice, I would still be a little bit cautious about it. Yeah. So we have a private cloud of our own. I'm a little bit hesitant to, my views on this are a little bit strong. Yes, I know as well as the next person about what the advantages of cloud are, and I do subscribe to those advantages. But if you ask my opinion, which not everybody might agree with, a company of our size and complexity of business is not yet ready for a cloud. Right? I mean, you know the amount of data we generate, the amount of data that we store, it is in petabytes. Right. Okay. The amount of complex applications that we run, processes that we run like activation, billing, CRM, I would be a little bit reluctant to be the first to put all this on a cloud. But yes, having said that, there are other strategic but more mature applications. For example, email, my office, my routine applications, for sure, yes, I do and I can put them on a cloud. I'm also exploring options to see whether I can put my entire disaster recovery center on a cloud. It's not something I need to lean on every day. So something that I don't need every day, should I invest in my own infrastructure to host that large real estate, power, cooling servers, or shall I subscribe to it as a cloud service somewhere? So I'm in the market for that. So certain areas, yes, cloud is a good and mature thing to have, and I fully subscribe to that. But if you mean to say that should a telco be completely on a cloud, should the OSS, BSS and everything move on a cloud? Probably not yet. Right. IT is something you can't live without. But at the same time, you don't notice it until it is not available. Just like oxygen. Today I am not clapping my hand because there is oxygen, but the moment it is not there, I will choke. I would say to some extent IT is like that people don't notice it and appreciate it because it is there. But if we take out IT from the equation for a second, businesses will collapse. Okay, so that to that extent, yes, and I think I agree with you to an extent that IT is more often than not playing the role of an unsung hero. But I think that is changing. At least in companies like mine, I have seen there is a lot more respect for IT. People do understand that IT is a vital piece of the business journey. So they do appreciate that. But yes, more can happen in that area. I think commensurate with the effort and the work that is put into IT, probably we could do with a little bit of more. A very heavy investment has been made by us and probably by other telcos also in the data wave. Now, data is a very hyped up term, and it is definitely our future. But the big question today is that do we know how to monetize data? Having made an investment in data, spectrum, license, infrastructure, people, all that is there. Millions or probably billions have been spent in dollars, I'm talking, not even rupees, in terms of bringing in and creating a data infrastructure. But do we really know how to monetize it, how to get returns from that? And I think a lot of this will ride on IT. So that is definitely. But in terms of technological breakthrough, see, we are looking at several new things today. We are looking at enterprise mobility, for example. We are looking at big data or analytics in a very big way. Instead of static data, we are talking of data in motion, or we not even call it data now, it is events. It is not. So with all big data, analytics, enterprise mobility, cloud, I would say I'm looking at a convergence of a new kind. I think we will no longer be able to talk of this in separate breaths, but probably a convergence where all of this comes together and is able to deliver unified benefits of all these new technologies. Instead of looking at them in a disjoint way, I think they will all come together and define the new wave of IT. Right. So it is all of them are important, but I won't say that one of them is the future. Sure. All of them coming together is the future. Yes, so I think understanding the business needs somebody who, see, first of all, I'm not very happy with vendors who come in and give me a very good show of PowerPoint slides talking about what great their products or solutions are. Rather, what I believe in, that the approach that vendors and partners should have is, they should come and tell me what my business is. As you said, they should understand the business needs. They should be able to pinpoint what are the pain areas. They should say, this is where you are, this is the ideal state based on our understanding of it. Most of the vendors, if you talk about today without naming anybody, they're all global players. They have an opportunity to work with a lot of companies, and they are aware of what the best practices are. So these are the best practices, this is where we are, so therefore these are the gaps, these are some of your pain areas. Try and convince me of that, and then say how their solution helps me bridge those gaps, plug those gaps, and come out with a more unified architecture. That is the approach that I want. The partnership approach is what I am looking for, rather than a product-based approach. So start with my problem areas, start with a consultative approach as opposed to a product-led approach, and then help me understand where the gaps are and help me understand where you can fill that. And also, next most important thing to me is innovation also in terms of your engagement model and ROI. Typically, most of the innovation comes in terms of applications, products and solutions. That's great. But also help me innovate in terms of the revenue models, in terms of the engagement models, in terms of the ROI. Show me the cost-benefit analysis. Typically, I don't know if we are running out of time in terms of this question, but if you ask most of the presentations and all that we hear, people talk about cost saving. If you adopt this solution, you will save cost. Your cost will come down by 80%. We heard somebody say, great. Now the problem, I'll tell you where the problem is. That's what I mean by having a partnership approach. Let's say last year I spent 400 crores on IT. what to me is the saving, that if I am spending 300 crores this year in IT, I will say I have saved 25%. Right? It's a clear mathematics. Right. What happens is that this year I will spend 500 crores in spite of using those technologies. And then I will say, hey, what happened to the cost saving? Instead of 400, now I'm spending 500. Oh, no. If you had not used these technologies, you would have spent 1,000. So that is how they define the baseline of cost saving. My cost saving baseline is what am I spending today? Maybe as an absolute number or as a percentage of my revenue. Show me the reduction next year. That baseline is different, right? It's hypothetical in case of most vendors. They tell me a hypothetical situation that if you had not done this, you would have got this done, you would have had this exposure, so therefore your cost would have been higher. That's not, so that alignment is very important. To me, a cost saving means I'm spending X today, I spend 0.8X or 0.7X next year. It's a clear saving. This is the kind of differences that we need to iron out before we can have a strong relationship. Understand that CIO is a people function. It's not a technology function. It's not, CIO is not about defining new architectures or data models. It is a people function. You have to work with partners, you have to work with your teams, but most importantly, you have to work with business people. You have to be an influencer. You have to be, as you mentioned about CFO, we talked about, you have to be able to, the CFO should have confidence in you that, okay, Ashish is coming here, telling me something, it has to be right, it's good for the business. He understands the business, he understands whatever pains are, so I have to believe him. It becomes a people function. I mean, I cannot go and start talking technical jargon and in the hope that, okay, I will confuse the person and therefore convince him. That never happens these days. So you have to understand that it is a people function. That is, I think, the biggest advice I would give. I didn't know that, by the way, when I joined here. I thought it's a technical function. I had met other CIOs in my other roles, so I used to, it's a revelation to me. It's a completely a people function. Second and most important thing that I would, just occurs to me is that, see, today is a great time to be a CIO. I can't think of any other job which gives you greater satisfaction, not only at a professional level, but you see the proliferation of technology all around you. Everywhere and everyone, including people who are one generation above me, and I am myself getting old, people and 2 generations below me, everybody is using technology. So it's a great time to be a CIO. I think you can have a lot of influence not only on the professional side of life, but also at the communities and society in general. So it gives you a great feeling. So I would definitely encourage people to work towards this role. It's a very satisfying role. As we discussed in the beginning, of course there are pressures, of course there are challenges, but it's a very satisfying role. And I definitely enjoy my work a lot.